Hello friends, in this video we will have a roundup of current events that happened in the year 2022, belongs to all the subjects and which are important for our UPSC exam. First one is the capital expenditure announcement in the budget. Honorable Finance Minister in the year 2022 in her budget has hiked the capital expenditure by 35% year on year. This is unprecedented in the recent past. The total effective capital expenditure has reached to 10.68 lakh crore, and apart from that, Finance Minister has brought crypto assets into the taxation net, and she announced 30% taxation on the proceedings arising out of crypto assets. And another important event is the GST process got streamlined. The monthly average collection is above 1.4 lakh crore. Second, introduction of the central bank digital currency by Reserve Bank of India. With the invent of blockchain technology, now the digital assets or the digital currencies like cryptocurrency gain lot of importance. To provide such a facility to our citizens, Reserve Bank of India has come up with a central bank digital currency. So it is a digital token issued by the central bank and it will be stored in wallet. It is something like a regular normal currency. The advantages of this currency is it will enhance the speed of the transaction, and it will reduce the cost involved in the transaction, and it promotes financial inclusion, and also it enhances the seigniorage charge of the Reserve Bank of India, and also it reduces the losses that are happening on the account of foreign exchange rate variation from time to time. And we have launched this program as a pilot project with some banks, and if everything goes well, we wanted to extend it to the other areas also, and we have launched both at the wholesale level and as well as the retail level. Third one, recently in India we have launched the 5G services, and this 5G is an important event in the process of digital India and the digital revolution. And before we launch the 5G services, this year Government of India auctioned the 5G spectrum, and this 5G spectrum has given a revenue worth of more than 1.5 lakh crore to the government. And along with allocating the spectrum to the telecom service providers, in this auction process we have also allocated a spectrum for the captive use by the industries, and we have launched the 5G services successfully in some cities, and by the end of 2024 we will cover all the tier 1 cities with the 5G network in the country, and now it is launched by the private people like Jio and Airtel. The important aspects of this 5G is high bandwidth, high frequency, low level of latency. The data speed can go up to 10 gigabytes per second, and it is having lot of applications in automation, artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things, apart from sending the data and downloading the data at a faster pace. And India has announced a semiconductor mission to provide the impetus to the promotion of 5G network and digital India revolution in this country. Next, fourth one, INS Vikrant. INS Vikrant is the first indigenously designed and built aircraft carrier, and we are having another aircraft carrier, that is INS Vikramaditya, but this is the reflection of self-reliance, and this will enhance our navy capability and also enhance the maritime security, and its weight is around 43,000 tons, and it can carry around 30 fighter jets and multi-role helicopters, and it was designed by Warship Design Bureau, and it was built by Cochin Shipyard, and our Prime Minister inducted this INS Vikrant in the year 2022, and while he is inducting, he said like it is not just a warship carrier. According to our Prime Minister, INS Vikrant is not just an aircraft carrier, but it is a proof of our hard work, our commitment, our ingenuity and our influence. And in this INS Vikrant, 76% of the components we use are indigenously built and indigenously manufactured. Fifth one, public private partnership in space sector. With the launch of Mission Prarambh by the Hyderabad based startup Skyroot Aerospace, India has written a new history in the area of space science. Till now, India conducted the all space research and space launch events only under the monopoly of ISRO. For the first time, with the reforms taken by the Union government in the year 2021, a private person has come up with its own launch vehicle, that is Vikram S, and this Vikram S stands for Vikram Ambalal Sarabhai, and it is dedicated to him, and he is the father of Indian space program. And this Vikram S has successfully placed 3 satellites into the orbit, and it is a suborbital mission, and this mission will give the impetus to the other private space agencies in the country, and this mission will pave the way for the launch of much more satellites and much more customized dedicated satellites in the next decade. Sixth one, Russia-Ukraine war. Russia-Ukraine war has completely changed the both geopolitics and geoeconomics of the world, and with a presumption that Ukraine may join in NATO, Russia has started a preemptive attack, or Russia has taken a war initiative, and since then the whole world is polarized it into pro-Russia and anti-Russia. This has created havoc in the Russia-Ukraine region, and that is having its own ripple effect across the world, and it has lot of impacts on India. First, the global supply chains related to food, fertilizer and fuel got disrupted. As a result, the food, fuel, fertilizer prices increased, and it has enhanced the subsidy burden in India. And India maintained tolerable inflation even during the pandemic, but because of Russia-Ukraine war, the inflation levels in India has increased, and it has become a big challenge for the government to tackle the inflation. And another important thing is, we understand the importance of promotion of medical education in India, and also we understood and how India should design its evacuation policies more clearly and more specifically. And it also shown like how India maintain its foreign policy to insulate and to protect the Indian interest from the world vagaries. Seventh one, the Sri Lankan economic crisis, and Sri Lanka is a neighbor, and Sri Lanka in security point of view also very important for India. A domestically designed pandemic driven economic crisis has impacted Sri Lanka severely. It is an economic crisis initially, but later it turned to political crisis, and it completely destabilized the Sri Lankan both political and economic system. And India has helped to some extent, like more than $4 billion worth of assistance it has provided, and India has also faced a challenge of refugees that are entering from the Sri Lanka to Tamil Nadu coast in India. And it is a naked example like how a misgovernance and nepotism can ruin both democratic system and as well as the economy of any country. And with this, India has also impacted in terms of both trade and investment. Eighth one, India's G20 presidency. It is a historic opportunity for India to host the G20 summit, and this G20 consisting of the 20 developed, major developed and developing countries, and India has taken over the presidency from Indonesia, and India will conduct the summit in the year 2023, but in the year 2022 and 23 India will conduct summits in India by inviting the 20 G20 countries along with other nations and other multilateral institutions. It is an opportunity for India to showcase its strength and to showcase its culture and other soft power, and certainly India can create a new narrative for different issues that the world is facing, and India's priorities are how to implement the sustainable development goals and digital public infrastructure. In these two aspects India achieved to some extent, and it will showcase its solution to the world. Now India can also represent the whole developing world and also the global south, and India can also propose for global reforms and the problem that the world is facing like money laundering, terrorism. Ninth one, India's achievement on renewable energy front. India updated its INDC target which was committed at UNFCCC, and in this year in our total energy mix, in installed capacity of energy generation, 40% is coming from the renewable source, and we hike the target to 50%. That means in total energy generation 50% should come out of renewable energy that we must achieve by 2030, and also we have enhanced our green energy target, our renewable energy target to 500 gigawatt by 2030, and we have also launched a green hydrogen policy, our green ammonia policy. Through this we wanted to promote green hydrogen production, and further we have announced various incentives like waiving of interstate transportation charges, giving statutory clearances at a faster pace, and promotion of the industry to generate green hydrogen. And along with that we have advanced our ethanol blending target from 2030 to 2025. By 2025 we need to blend our petrol with 20% of ethanol, and also we have amended our Energy Conservation Act to meet our target and to enhance the use of renewable energy in this country, and also we are going to launch the carbon credit marketing system in this country. Next, 10th one, COP15. It is an important international summit, that is a conference of parties of United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity, and many people are drawing the parallel between this COP and the COP21 of UNFCCC, because in this COP15 which was held at Montreal has committed for protection of the biodiversity, and we have come up with a specific targets including financial commitment, and India has also committed for this COP15, and the agreement we signed at COP15 we call it as Kunming-Montreal Agreement or Global Biodiversity Framework, and India has increased its green cover and forest area. In some of the wildlife India the number is increasing. Recently India introduced cheetah in its wild, but India is having two concerns with respect to the COP15, that is the subsidies that are giving to the farmers for both fertilizers, pesticides must not be considered as a subsidy. Second one, the developed countries are having larger role in protecting the biodiversity, and our Prime Minister also proposed a program called LIFE, that is lifestyle for environment. That means we must lead our life, we must consume our resources in such a way that it must promote a sustainable development. 11th one, Supreme Court important judgments in the year 2022. First one is related to sedition. The section 124 of IPC was grossly misused in this country according to the Supreme Court, and it is a colonial law, and even our colonial masters, they removed it from the statute book, but still we are continuing it. And the section 124A is removing the distinction between the dissent, criticism and the real seditious activities, and Supreme Court kept this 124A in abeyance. That means no new case filed under this particular section, and Supreme Court advised to strengthen the other legislation to take care about any such seditious activities. And another important judgment is related to the abortion rights of women, and the judgment is important in the event of another judgment given by the United States of America Supreme Court. And United States of America's the apex court has ruled in favor of a stricter abortion law which is antithetical to the women's right. But whereas in case of India, the Indian Supreme Court in a specific case has removed the distinction between a married woman and an unmarried woman to abort it if it is safe and if it is legal. And Supreme Court also pronounced that the reproductive right of a woman is an individual choice without interference by anybody if it is safe and legal, and this is something promoting women rights. Thank you.
Amrita IAS Academy.